You're listening to the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Podcast, the podcast that keeps your practice sharp and your clients happy. I'm your host, immigration lawyer John Khosravi, and every week we're bringing you insights, tips, and real-world conversations with top immigration attorneys and industry leaders. Whether you're here to grow your practice, stay on top of the latest trends, or get inspired, you're in the right place. Ready? Let's go. Hello, fellow Toolboxers. Welcome to episode number 420 of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine. I don't have any jokes because that's number 420, but we'll just leave it at that. I guess that's the joke itself. But thank you for joining us. We're going to have a great interview, a little shorter one with law professor Virgil Wiebe in Minnesota, a great colleague who's been in the trenches for many years on these kind of things. And so on immigration, asylum, and removal. He got out of that, focused on citizenship to try to clear his plate and make things a little easier. And then we got the Trump administration. Citizenship's going to be more harder. But we're going to talk about his experience going in that and tips to help personal life and just about practice in general, as we always do. And so I really appreciate him coming on the show. If you're an immigration attorney, immigration professor, you're in the faculty space. There's the Listserv for immigration lawyers I was part of when I used to teach, and I'm still on it. I guess I'm grandfathered in. And I saw he posts regularly all the podcasts he listens to, and he breaks it down. It's kind of a part-time job, it seems, doing all that. But if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. So I reached out and said, how come my podcast isn't on here? And that's left the discussion. So I got to meet him. So I was really happy to have that chance. And I thank him again for coming on the show. I also want to thank our sponsor. You all know them already. You've heard about them, but they're doing something really special. It's kind of the theme of today's episode, interviewing as well. After so many years, 15 years of immigration law, I know that the better we manage stress, the better we serve our clients. That's why Immigration, Serenade by Immigration, the case management software, is teaming up with performance psychology pro Nikola Milokovic to deliver a free webinar that's all about real tools for managing stress. You learn how to focus your mindset and how culture plays a role in how you show up, and when stakes are high, how to deal with those. We're going way beyond simple wellness tips, or they are. Head to get.immigration.com/events to save your seat and your sanity. Get.immigration.com/events, again, to save your sanity, which is so important with everything that's going on because it's needed. It's resilience training. I'm going through a lot, just personal life, this and that. And I'm praying at night. I'm like, oh, this is getting tough. But I realize in the morning I wake up, this is just resilience training. It's like going to the gym and lifting heavy weights. And it's like, oh, this is really tough. But you do it a couple of times, the fourth time around, the weights ain't going to be as tough anymore. You keep moving it up. And that's just what life is. I'm like over 40 now. And I realize like the amount I'm able to work and the amount of pain and patience I could endure is I'm like, wow, I wish I had this when I was 20. I would have been much more successful in other aspects of my life. And so that's just it. We get a chance to have struggles so we can overcome and get better. But moving aside from the psychological and philosophical stuff, I want to remind you that issue number 10 of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox is there. Speaking of psychological stress, getting these together is hard. You got to read them all and organize and this and that. So I put a lot of effort into it, but also the people give me articles. They're busy with their time. They're so kind to share really good information. And we really say, hey, listen, I want articles in this magazine that an immigration lawyer will read and be like, wow, that's really something. And our sponsors at Serenade, Immigration by Serenade, have been so kind to sponsor this podcast and the magazine to keep it outgoing. And so want to please check it out. Go to immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com, click on the magazine link and get back issues. Got 10 issues now. We're prepping number 11 and trying to make this quarterly so we have more and more numbers and make a real dent in the immigration space, a real presence in this small niche community that we have. And it's a passion, labor of love and passion, which everyone listening has the same. So take advantage of it while it's there. immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. Leave a review, like and subscribe wherever you're listening. I want to get more Spotify attention. Leave good reviews, please. I need to have 100 Spotify reviews and on iTunes too. But we need to get this information out there. The more attention we get, the more hardcore quality stuff I can do is spend more time on this. I spend half my time doing this podcast and the other half doing my law firm. And this is a hobby that's become half my time. So you got to help me justify it. And then the more better we get at it, the more high-end interviews I could do and more time I can spend analyzing policies and stuff like that. So support me to support you. immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. That's all the big stuff I got to talk about. Without further ado, none of the information here is intended as individual legal guidance. Please consult with an immigration attorney about your case, but y'all know that already. Let's get it started. Hi, Virgil. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
You got it. So you're in immigration space, really active in immigration law, but a little bit different because you're on the university side for many years now. Could you just go from the beginning of your career and what led you to where you are right now?
Sure. Um, I got involved with immigration issues all the way back in college. This is in the early 80s, when the wars were going on in Central America and the refugees started coming from El Salvador and Guatemala and Nicaragua to some extent. And so a sister of mine was involved in a church that was doing something called the Overground Railroad. And the Overground Railroad was trying to take inspiration from the Underground Railroad in terms of moving people through the United States to safety, but to do it legally,
Mhm.
to get people out of detention in the along the southern border and get them to Canada, where they had a much greater chance of getting asylum. So I got involved with that. Uh, I did a master's degree in Latin American studies, ended up in law school, and uh, and after clerking, went to the Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service and was representing hundreds of Haitian and Liberian asylum claims. Learned a bunch. My wife and I moved from New York, where we were at that time, to Baltimore. And so that's when I started teaching. Ended up at Georgetown for a couple of years. They've got a great training program for immigration attorneys to become law professors. And so I went into clinical teaching and short stint at University of Maryland, and then ended up here in Minneapolis, where I've been since 2002 already.
What
So
makes Minneapolis and Minnesota in general such a hub for immigration? It's there's a lot of immigration lawyers there, great immigration lawyers, and it's in the news a lot too. What's causing that to happen? You think L.A., New York, and Miami? Why Minneapolis?
so Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota in general, for a variety of reasons, like many communities, the refugee resettlement program, which tried to kind of spread refugees all over the country.
Hmm.
Um, Minneapolis and St. Paul became really big centers for Somali migration, particularly in Minneapolis, and then Hmong folks from Laos in St. Paul. And so a lot of refugee resettlement, other groups, the Karen from Burma. And then at the same time, you've got lots of Fortune 500 companies in the metro area. So you've got a vibrant employment-based immigration going on. We got the Mayo Clinic down in Rochester, lots of immigration work related to Mayo. So those are some of the reasons why,
I
you know,
see.
we've got a great immigration bar.
Hmm. Yeah, a lot of colleagues, a lot of professors who work too. Your local congressperson, she's a friend. The name is leaving me right now. She colors her hair red in the front. um,
Oh, Sandra Feist. I was just texting with Sandra a few minutes ago. Yeah, she's fantastic.
yeah, so it's excellent, and she teaches actually with another friend, Scott Folks, I believe. That's been a listener for a long time.
Yeah, Scott Folks. When I take the summers off to do my academic writing, Scott covers my cases for me.
Oh, awesome. So you
Was a
are
form
handling cases through this clinic at the school.
Sure. Yeah, our clinic right now, we used to do a lot of asylum and removal defense. Now we're doing more naturalization cases,
Hmm.
which are getting increasingly
Yeah.
complicated. Uh, but yeah, my teaching is almost entirely driven by client work and equipping students to do that work.
Mhm. Well, you're in the law firm. I mean, the upper education space. It's kind of outside immigration, but how do you see students incoming law schools? More students, less students? What's happening in academia?
Well, right now, we are kind of having a mini boom in applications at least at St. Thomas. I think nationwide, but we're up a few percentage points above what the national average is. So, uh, for the moment, things are good. The demographic cliff that they talk about will soon make its way to the graduate
Yeah.
school level, but right now things are good.
Yeah, even with immigration lawyer space, there's a lot of immigration lawyers get burned out because of all the Trump stuff. Last time it happened, we had Me Too. I was just going like it's overwhelming. But at the same time, there's another boom of people who want to get involved to join the fight. So there's fresh blood coming in droves. So it's just a lot to learn, and that's why he's having as many educational methods for his people to catch up is important.
Yeah, definitely, and you're right about, Trump, 1, wearing some of us old geezers out. I faced that in 2019. Um, I had I was forced to step back. Um, I wasn't sleeping through the night. I was paranoid. I was sure that ICE was out to get me, and I was, just not in a space to teach or represent people for a while. And uh, it's important that people know that we get worn out and we have to step back, maybe change our practice, maybe seek professional help. I certainly had to. Um, so it's no different now than Trump won, and maybe even worse.
Yeah.
Uh, their stated goal was to flood the zone.
Hmm.
They use phrases like shock and awe. They use military terms to describe what they're doing, and we're on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, part of the tactic is to overwhelm the immigration attorneys. Even on our end, we're like double checking stuff constantly, paranoid that we say that this go that go right, and it just add a lot of work, which means like the prices go crazy, but you can't really pass down all those costs to people. So
Right.
it just means that I'm spending less time eating or with family or friends. So it's a great tactic on their part. It's cruel and horrific in reality, but that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and you know, I'm a pacifist, but the militaristic imagery kind of applies. I mean, when you talk about fresh blood, I mean, younger folks are better able usually to work those long hours, but
Yeah.
we have to be concerned about how we take care of us as you know, as a group.
Hmm.
And so, Ayla has done a lot on mental health. People need to be aware of what their local bar associations do. We've got an organization here called Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers, which provides free counseling services to attorneys that need it, um, confidential consultations, uh, and people need to feel free to reach out and to think about our mental health just like we think about our physical health.
Yeah. Which I mean, a lot of people aren't taking care of their physical health as it is. They just, and that's visual. You can see
Yeah,
it, but
yeah,
eating bad and just sitting all day. I ruined my back for last year. I got better now because I stopped. But like from sitting working for a year, when I'd get up, my back was like, oh, you just sat for 8 hours. You got to use me. You can't just sit there in bad
yeah.
posture. But yeah, what I found is just like talk with other immigration lawyers as much as possible to get access to this information. I kind of have a cheat with this podcast that gives me that outlet, but a lot of people are just in the room working all day. They may be in firms where they have other lawyers, but they don't talk about the cases or communicate. But you got to talk with friends that are in this fight together. It really helps relieve
Oh,
stress.
definitely. Yeah, after this, not too long after this conversation is over, one of my colleagues across the hall, who's a social worker, has created a support group for people working with immigrants, both attorneys and other mental health professionals. And we're just going to get together and talk about how things are going.
Hmm. Now, with regards to the cases that you're doing at the clinic, is it is mostly asylum and removal, or any particular type of asylum claim?
No, what I was saying is I used to do asylum and removal. I did that for, 30
Oh
years,
wow.
25, 30 years. And that's part of what kind of ground me down.
Hmm.
And, I just had to make a change in caseload.
Yeah.
And I chose naturalization thinking, well, that's naturalization's easy.
Until the new
And
memos came out.
it exactly. So, yeah, I mean, naturalization is the new asylum.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think about all the hundreds of affirmative asylum claims I've done over the years where you had to document your claim. Naturalization is going to become like that.
Yeah, we like to practice of
Neighborhood.
yeah, doing FOIAs, getting the whole file 'cause people have no idea how they got their green card a lot of times, so you gotta go back and, because they're gonna be checking, hardcore.
Yeah, and it's great for students to see it, a client's entire immigration
Yeah.
history. That's a way to learn as well, sort of instead of starting at the beginning, starting at the end.
Yeah, and I've seen cases where, like, USCIS messed up and issued a green card, like, too early or where they're not supposed to, and that naturalization that people come to me, I'm like, "You shouldn't file this case." And they won't usually don't even believe me. Like, "How could the government make an error?" I'm like, "They did, and now, like, the relationship you had that would have got you this, you're divorced, you can't get it anymore. So, if you file for Nats, you're removable." So it's
Yeah, all of our retainers, our initial retainers are investigate eligibility for Nats.
yeah. But people don't appreciate investigating. They think it's like, "Oh, it's a form, F-100." Like, no, no, the investigation is where the lawyering comes in this situation.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, so what
So
go ahead, sorry.
yeah, so I mentioned the social worker across the hall. We have a social work professor, we have a psychology professor, and then they've got staff as well, of trained professionals. So within our center, we have students from all 3 professions working, often working together. So we are kind of branching into doing N648s, which are the waivers um, for the civics and English tests, and
That's
using
interesting.
our psychologists to do that.
That's a
Uh,
yeah, those are getting more and more tricky too. The officers just kind of like, "Nah, I don't believe it." You're like, "Wait a minute, you can't just like on a whim say that." So that's a tricky one to deal with.
so that combined with, clients come with their whole lives, and sometimes they could use some help accessing resources. So we have case managers to do that, who are social workers. Um, so we're trying to kind of use an interdisciplinary model to train our students.
That's fantastic. How many numbers or how much volume goes through you guys?
We're pretty low volume. Um, we have an open caseload, only of about 25 clients.
Hmm.
So we focus on, um, one of my mentors called it practicing law in slow motion, like just kind of going over every step very carefully. Um, if you think about, weightlifting and lifting weights slowly,
Hmm.
that can be as helpful as doing it fast.
Hmm.
So then it sort of sets people up to have kind of the muscle memory to do it at a higher volume when they get into regular practice.
Can the students go to the naturalization interview with the client?
Sure can.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. So I'll just sit and watch, um, and occasionally step in, but I do my best to keep my mouth shut.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a goal. I tell clients to like, do you mean come out not to help the student manage it or just like just let it go?
If something goes off the rails a little bit, just that's something to learn from too. So to see
Yeah.
what the student can do with it, and if it's hard not to jump in,
Yeah.
but wait until
It's
I
like a
try to wait
parent kind of
until
thing.
there's just no right.
Yeah.
Wait until there's no alternative.
That must say that I mean, students must be so nervous too. I mean, I've done so many Nats interviews when I go, like now it's like, okay, I got to go downtown. But remember the
Right.
first couple of times, you're like nervous, butterflies and
Exactly.
stuff. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. And we'll bring clients in and do practice interviews, and we'll have a student be the officer and a student be the attorney, and we have rooms with, the two-way mirrors.
Hmm.
And so, the client will know that there are, you know, you know, a small class of students watching through the window, and
What a great
just put
program.
them through.
What are the like requirements for someone for like an applicant to be able to use your program?
Well, we have a very loose income guidelines of around 300% of the poverty level.
Hmm.
So it's, higher than legal aid. So a lot of our referrals come from legal aid where they say, here's a good case, but they make just too much money.
Hmm.
just a little bit over what our guidelines are, and so they'll refer
Interesting.
the folks to us.
Yeah, it's great experience. I taught at Loyola and Pepperdine, a more general immigration law course. Uh,
Yep.
but would have been just doing a NAT session. This is because NATS is at the end, so it teaches everything, whether employment based or asylum. Like it just from a end of of the line, it teaches you all the way to the front. So that's why it's like a great way
Right.
for students to learn. Just learn the immigration process through that.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's got the my
And
gears rolling of making
there
a course
is
like that. Sorry.
and there is the threat of removal proceedings if you miss something.
Yeah.
So there is a, you know, that's sitting out there, and like you say, sometimes you just have to advise clients not to go forward.
Hmm.
Or those fun cases where someone is removable, but they're also eligible for naturalization at the same time.
Hmm.
You know, what's your risk tolerance as an attorney and as a client?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's
now I think,
yeah, there's like 237A1H where like they may deny the Nats, but then you want to get NTA to go to court. But for a long time, they wouldn't even NTA you. So I have a case like that. It's been 10 years. We want to get
oh
NTA,
wow,
but they're just not doing it. And I never want to do that fake asylum filing to get to court. And now they've like really said that's malpractice to do that. But so the guy's like, we're waiting for NTA so to fix this stuff. So it's kind of a weird situation.
oh yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Now you have
Oh
we
sure.
connected because you have a great are you do you run the listserv for immigration professors or are you just using it?
I just use it. The immigration There's an immigration professors listserv, and there's a immigration clinic professors listserv as well.
Wonderful.
So
Yeah. You have a great
yeah,
post
so
about all the podcasts you listen to.
yeah, I started doing it for fun, and found that it's useful to have all of that combined knowledge out in the podcast world to like refer clients to, and to refer students to,
Mhm.
and using my teaching. So
For sure. Yeah,
yeah.
I found like this year especially the number of podcasts has gone up and it's bittersweet because some are really good. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna take down my numbers because they're kind of better than my show. So,
Right.
so I'm like, oh, but it's needed. I always tell people do it. Just have a different kind of perspective. Don't just regurgitate. Okay, an I-130 is this. This is like that's already there. Just adds your own flavor and any unique information knowledge to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Virgil, thank you so much for coming on the show. If people want to reach out, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can email me at vowiebe, VOWIEBE at stthomas.edu.
If I may ask, what's your last name's background?
It's Dutch,
I see.
and I come from a Mennonite background, if that means anything to you. Um, it's a pacifist religious Christian group that sprung up in the 1600s, 1500s
They're still around. I mean, people
in
mistake is that
Holland, and yeah.
would they mistake for Amish and Mennonite? They kind of say at the same time.
They are yeah, we're connected to the Amish.
How
So,
far back is your family? Kind of. I'm assuming teaching at university, you're not active in Mennonite, or is it? Could you be active and live an urban
yeah, I
lifestyle?
am active. So, like the Amish only go to school through the 8th grade, but Mennonites have a very vibrant higher education system of their own. I didn't go through it myself, but it's a fabulous resource. But yeah, I'm still active in a local congregation here with my wife, and
Wonderful.
um, yeah,
Praise God. Thanks so much for coming on, Virgil. I appreciate it. We stayed on a minute or two after I paused the show, but thanks again.
great.
Thank you so much for listening. I'm great opportunity to have a short interview with our colleague there, Virgil. Fortunately, like it was a little short. I always want to go longer, but as I mentioned in the last podcast, we get slammed with all the consultations sometimes, and it makes it hard to keep it going. But I really enjoy getting to know different things. Yeah, afterwards, we shut off, learned about his personal religious background. It's not something you'll see on a day-to-day basis in LA. So America is just full of so many different aspects. It's 50 I know growing up here, you always say, oh, there's 50 states, 50 stars on the flag. But these are 50 countries. They each have their own legislature, their own president, the governor. their own courts. So it's like 50 individual countries all in one. Imagine like Europe. Everyone says France, Germany is so different. There's like Europe's the size of Texas. It's not that big. They have all this history. 50 states have a lot. Now, yep, some states have nobody in there, but California, Texas, Florida, New York, Washington State, each one has its own history and its own culture. Really, we even homogenize a lot because of modern society. But they still have it. You got to remember that it's so different. You can still see it when I mean, even the Minnesota accent's a little bit different. When I was a kid, I remember watching Bobby's World. I think the mom was from Minnesota or Wisconsin or something. You all remember her accent if you were listening at the time. But on this huge tangent, I just want to say like and subscribe wherever you're watching. Leave a nice review for us, 5 stars, and join our community page. Having said that, God bless, be safe. We'll see you next time. Bye bye. If you like this episode, follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Immigration Lawyers Toolbox, where we post the latest statistics, tips, and more. And stay tuned for more from the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox podcast.